Hi, today I'm reviewing the Tatcha, the Silk Canvas Primer. And really quick, I just want to say I purchased all these products with my own money, so you know you can trust my opinion is what I honestly believe. And if you want to help support the channel, click on the Amazon link below before you make your purchase. So today I'm reviewing the new Tatcha primer, which comes in a jar, and it actually is kind of a filmy primer, and they send you a little disc that it comes with to use as a spatula. However, I must say I've already lost this thing like 5 times, so that's kind of annoying, and it's super light. It doesn't have any weight to it, so it's easy to lose, but you'll probably want to hold on to it because this is kind of how you get the product out of the jar. And it comes packaged nicely like all of the Tatcha products do. And it's just a primer that you would kind of use to scoop the top layer off of with the spatula, and then you would apply it to your face. But the key with it is after you scoop it up, you'll definitely want to warm it up in your hands. That's kind of the key with this. So kind of let me go over my factors here, and I'll show you kind of, guys, what I think of this. So the first criteria is packaging. I'm not a huge fan of jar packaging, which this has. However, there really aren't any antioxidants in this, so the jar packaging isn't as big of an issue as it normally would be. Normally, if there's antioxidants and other good things in there that get exposed to light and air, they start to degrade. But squalane is kind of the only thing that's in here that's even remotely kind of like an antioxidant. So I didn't give it a bad review for that reason. So, but definitely no antioxidants. I definitely would prefer a different packaging, but with this kind of material, there's really not a better way to do that. So I gave it a thumbs up on that criteria. And then the second criteria is denatured alcohol. And this unfortunately does contain denatured alcohol. It's not as big of an issue as it normally would be because it is near the very bottom of the list, so it's not as big of a concern, but the product probably would be better with something else in its place. But with a formula like this, it's not a big concern. Then my third criteria is fragrance, and this has the signature Tatcha scent, which the product would be better without it. But it dissipates quite quickly, so it's not a huge concern, but the product, again, would still be better without it. But thankfully, for me, the Tatcha scent doesn't really bother me like a lot of other super floral or crazy fragrance, but still would be better without it. But I'm sure a lot of you guys don't mind it either, and it dissipates almost instantly. So then my fourth criteria is manufacturing location, and this is made in Japan, so there are no issues there. And then the fifth for me is ease of use. And, you know, it's not the quickest product to use. It's not like a primer you would just squeeze out of a tube and rub on your face and go. It definitely takes some steps and a little bit of patience. But with this, you'll have the little scoop. And on the scoop, there's like a little line on there. And that's what they say you want to fill up to that line with the primer. But that's probably more than you need because a little bit definitely goes a long way, but you'll just want to scoop a little bit out on this. And once you get a little bit, you're going to want to warm it up in your fingers for a few seconds. Definitely warm it up for a few seconds there. And after it's kind of get a little bit more of a liquid or gel consistency, then you'll apply it to your face. And you definitely will have easier results if you kind of press it on as opposed to rub it on. My issue with it is I have super dry skin, so I have to use moisturizer, usually at least a couple different moisturizers, and I use this several times. A couple times I noticed pilling with it, especially if you rub it in there, so definitely don't do that, but you're going to want to more pat it on. That's kind of the trick with it. So definitely if you're rubbing it on and you have anything on underneath, you're going to notice pilling. But if you pat it on, you shouldn't have those issues, or if you use an SPF underneath it. But definitely it's kind of more time consuming than the average primer. But once you get the hang of it, it doesn't take too much time, but it still isn't the easiest to use. And then my sixth criteria is antioxidants or pigmentation. And this is pretty much a clear silicone type paste. There's really no antioxidants in there. It doesn't really have any pigmentation at all, but definitely it would be better if they threw some antioxidants in there. It's actually kind of interesting. The products that they have, or the ingredients that they have in there, I'm not going to be able to pronounce them, but it's a couple different tree type ingredients, extracts, and a company has patented those, and they call it FILMEXEL. And so it's kind of a newer product or newer ingredient, and that's what's in here. And it's kind of interesting. If you Google FILMEXEL, there's a laboratory that's combined a couple of these, I think they're Japanese tree extracts, and they put these in some products and foundations and primers to give things a little bit of a longer use. But kind of with the name FILMEXEL, you kind of get the feeling that it's a little bit of a film, which is kind of really what this really is. It's kind of a film that helps extend the wear of makeup and foundation and powder, things like that. So they've got that in there. So it's kind of interesting if you ever Google it, because it's got all the laboratory information, the extracts that are used in there. I researched the extracts separately, and there doesn't seem to be any cause for concern of those. But it definitely has a film. So if you have oily but non-acne prone skin, you're probably going to have the best luck with this. I have super dry skin, like I always say, and this provides a film but ends up getting some dry patches, especially towards the end of the day, but even at the beginning of the day. Every time I tried this, I just ended up with dry patches. And the first couple times, I didn't have any issues at the beginning of the day. It was more so at the very end of the day where I'd end up with dry, flaky, accentuated patches. And I think that's probably a result of some of that film. Probably some of the little bit of alcohol that is in there is causing that. And the fact that I can't put as many layers of moisturizer on and use this as I normally would. So anyway, back to number 7, which is animal testing. And thankfully, Tatcha does not animal test. So that's awesome. So they definitely get a thumbs up for that. And then the next is number 8, which is performance. And I just didn't have the greatest luck with it. My makeup definitely lasted longer than it normally would without any primer. But like I said, I had those flaky patches, which just aren't a good look. I'd rather have shiny skin and no flaky patches than a perfectly matte face with dry, flaky patches all over. So just wasn't a huge fan of the performance. If you have dry skin, you're probably going to want to avoid this. But like I said, those with more oily skin but not acne prone will definitely probably have the best luck with this. Which, you know, there's a primer for everybody, and this just wasn't for me. And you know what the other issue is? If you wear anything under this, like a moisturizer, it can cause more of that pilling, depending on how you apply it. But you need to use an SPF, so you're definitely going to, if you're not using it underneath this, use a foundation with SPF in it as well. So that's just another concern to take in mind. But I don't know if a lot of people that have oily skin, do they use a lot of moisturizers, or they probably just use a light serum and a toner? So probably not as big of an issue there. And then number 9 is the price, which is $52. And for a primer, that's pretty pricey, more pricey than a lot of other options. So I kind of dinged it for that. And then the it factor, to me, almost everything that Tatcha comes out with has kind of an it factor. And this definitely has an it factor to it. It's fun. You know, they've got beautiful packaging, beautiful marketing that goes with it, you know. And a lot of people will definitely love this, I'm sure, unlike myself. So anyway, so I gave it a thumb up for the it factor. So overall, based on all the 10 criteria, this meets 4 out of 10 of them, which I think is 1 thumb down. But like I said, if you have the more oily skin, you're probably going to have much better luck with this than I did. So overall, oily, non-acne prone skin will like this most. If you have oily and acne prone, be very careful at first, because this does contain some of those silicones in there, which can clog pores. It's kind of the basis of the whole formula. So just definitely start out slow and be careful, because you don't want to end up having any issues with that from this. But I'm bummed. If it didn't have those flaky dry patches, I definitely probably could see myself using this more. But for me, it's just going to be a no-go. There's not enough there for me to use. So anyway, those are kind of my thoughts on it. So I'm interested if you guys have had a chance to check this out yet or not, and if so, what your thoughts are, if you liked it or not. So leave a comment. I love hearing from you guys. Feel free to subscribe if you're not already. I come with at least one new review every day. And check out nobsbeauty.net. Thank you so much, guys.